Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Thornton Farm, our Thornton Farm Revisited series here on, of course, Thornton Farm. This is episode number 13, and I realize it's been a little bit of time since you have heard from me, and I am so very sorry. So very sorry. I've had just sort of one thing kind of led into another, and that led into something else, and it just things have just kind of spiraled a little bit out of control. And I think I said this not too long ago, and anyone else who is listening to the sound of my voice, who also happens to be retired like I am, completely knows that, at least in my case, and I've had many others say the same thing, that your the amount of free time that you have being retired is less, a lot less, in so many cases than what you had when you worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week. When I first started my channel, and I'll update you all on the ongoings here of Thornton Farm with Smithy and Abner and the soon to be Mrs. Smithy here in just a moment. But when I first started my channel back in, I think it was 2016, for much of those early days, being able to produce three, four um, episodes, maybe five episodes a week, sometimes multiple things, farm sim, maybe I was successful. For a small portion of time, being able to manage two different maps, um, and um, and certainly being able to produce truck sim videos and farm sim videos kind of in parallel with each other. I was working 50 hours a week, sometimes 60 hours a week. Crazy, crazy schedules, yet I was able to get all that done. And of course, I was a little bit younger then, and still did a lot of things around the house. I would say, I think, we will unfold this. Now we'll figure out what Smithy is doing there in the big end. Why he's coming back this direction. I guess he is. Yes, this field is a little bit odd shaped, so course play just sort of does that. We'll give him just a little bit more time here. So yes, it has been a little bit of time. It's been over a week and a half, probably closer to 2 weeks, since I have produced an episode since we were last together with episode number 12. And in episode number 12, we dropped off the big John Deere 1775 planter at the shop. And the very good news is that, well, that guy has sold. They have sold that. It sold within just a couple of days of getting it up there. I think they already had a buyer kind of lined up for it, and it sold. And so that's some of that additional revenue. I think there's probably a couple of $100,000 showing up there in the money counter that we didn't have when we started episode number 12, whenever that was. So that's good news. The second piece of good news is that our new planter has already come in, and that's already been purchased, and that's waiting for us at the shop. I don't think we'll get it today. We don't really have a rush. I mean, there was really not a maybe there was a rush to sell the old planter, but there certainly is not a rush to get the new planter, to even have purchased it. But we wanted to go ahead and do that because the shop had found that for us. It is a slightly used, I would say gently used, planter, and we'll get that maybe the next episode. And then, of course, we also gave you a kind of a quick tour of the greenhouse expansion area. I showed you the new greenhouses that we put in there, plus the warehouse operations that we've set up for Mrs. Smithy, and she's doing just a fine job with that. And I think I also explained our uh, our fresh from the farm market that we're holding up there. I think I might have called it something else in episode 12, but you get kind of the gist of what we're doing, where we're opening the greenhouse area, the farm area up, allowing people to come out and do tours. Now, that won't be, we won't allow tours on the entire farm every single month, but maybe we'll do that a couple of times a year. But the greenhouse area will be open once a month at least during the the more pleasant weather months. Maybe we will do that every 2 weeks and sell our goods and stuff that way. And of course, Smithy managed to sell all that milk. And we had a whole lot of milk, and I'll tell you why we had so much milk. I'll kind of go off script here, out of role play just a second, and tell you about the milk explosion that we had on the farm. So, kind of in the real world, the animal extension mod got updated somewhere around the time of episode number 11 or 12, when I recorded episode number 11 or 12. So a couple of weeks from this point where I'm at right now, that animal extension mod got updated. Well, I took the update, not really um, not really knowing if it were going to cause any problems or anything, and took the update, and didn't really at first, within that game day, whatever game day I was playing at the time, didn't notice any challenges or any problems with it. Wasn't paying attention to the number of animals that were in the pens, and food consumption and all that stuff. Well, something, and I believe that we were running close to 150 head of dairy cows on Thornton Farm before I updated the mod, before I updated, there goes the autosave, before I updated the animal extension mod. Well, as a result of updating that mod, um, it it is different. It's configured a little differently, and I struggle to explain it. And I'm sorry, because I'm trying to drive at the same time here. But essentially, the amount of food that the animals eat has greatly increased. I mean, huge, by a huge amount. I was able to mix up um, a full mixing wagon of food, and be able to that fill the troughs and everything, and be able to do that once a day, once a game day. We're playing 2 game days per month, and that was fine. Once I updated the mod, and I fast forwarded into the next game day, um, their troughs were empty. I mean, it was just as if the herd had increased in size by tenfold or something. So I'm like, whoa, that this is weird. And so I began watching a few other farm sim content creators and a few other videos about Farm Sim 22, and of course some of those guys had begun to experience some of the same problems. Fury Machine Gaming um, experienced similar problems with both the increase in the food count and just a little few other little quirks and everything. Well, I didn't, and I've not given up on it. I've not gone back to the old version now. I believe Fury Machine Gaming has gone back to the older version of the Animal Extension mod, but we have tried to stick it out, and will stay with the new version. I've just cut down on the number of animals, number of physical animals. We're still sort of saying we're still running around 125, 130 to 150 head of dairy cows just for the storyline, but I've cut that number down considerably, just because we don't have enough food to do that at the new rates that they're eating now. If that's a problem, if the animal extension mod has just been configured incorrectly, then hopefully a new update will come out for that in due time and will address that issue. The other challenge, the other challenge that I experienced, and I didn't notice this on the first game day that I had updated the mod, and I'm talking about the animal extension mod. The sheep disappeared. They were just absolutely gone. I mean, it was almost as if aliens swept down from another galaxy and just loaded up all of our sheep and took them away. Either that or Smithy left the gate open again. But in any event, the sheep were gone. Now, the animal extension mod does do a few things. It introduces some new animal types. You'll see this with the cows. You'll see this with the sheep. It brings about goats. It brings about um, male rams and female sheep, ewes, I suppose they're called. But anyway, the different types of animals are also the different types of cows are changed. And so my guess is um, that whatever type of sheep that I had selected when I put them on the map are no longer the type of sheep that are offered with the animal extension mod, and so as a result, they just disappeared. So I was able to get them back on the map, just cheated in the money that it took to buy those cows. I suppose I should say, and get them back on the map. So they are happy. The sheep are just down there, and they are happy to be there, and we're happy to have them. All right. So the other thing is, and as a result of the changes with the animal extension mod, I think that the amount of milk that is produced also drastically improved, or something or another. We had like, I don't know, over 100,000 liters of milk that we had to sell, and so I got Smithy on that, and we had good prices for milk, and that's why we have some of that. Of course, this is all going to come in handy because Mr. Thornton is still looking at purchasing a new farm at auction when it comes up for auction, and it's going to be coming up for auction very soon, I believe. And so some of the proceeds, some of the money that we have made off of Thornton Farm as well as Calmsden are going to be going towards the purchase of the new farm, the new court farm that I've been telling you about over a period of several episodes. So, anywho, hope everyone is having a wonderful week. I hope you all are enjoying whatever weather Mother Nature is throwing at you. We have had some unseasonably warm weather here in Mile High City in Denver, Colorado, where I call home. We have actually found ourselves in one of those situations where in the mornings we have to turn the heat on for just a little bit, and in the evenings upstairs, especially because we've had a few days where the outside temperature has hit 80, about 82 was a record high a couple of days ago. And we've had to turn the AC on upstairs. I've got two different units. I've got two AC units and two furnaces for upstairs, downstairs, and so don't have to run the AC very long, about 30 minutes or so. But I have had to kick that on two different evenings just because the upstairs temperature was pushing close to 80 degrees. And when you sleep one day, when it's inside upstairs, I run the bedroom temperature during the winter time about 66 degrees, 65, 66 degrees, and then all of a sudden you try to go to bed and it's 80 something. That is just crazy. Let me move Smithy's tractor out of the way because I see that he has just left it here after he finished doing what he was doing. So we will get this guy out of here. Let's see if we can just send him. Let's just see if we can do this. I don't know if he will find his way around the field. He should. Let's see if I need to maybe slow his corner speed down a little bit because that is way too fast. Apply, and then we'll see. We'll see what that does. Um, anyway, let me get back over here to our Deutschfar, and then we will get the rest of this tethered. Now, I typically don't show um, tedding and baling all kind of in the same game day, just because in the real world we know that you can't just simply cut grass and go out and basically ted it and then turn around and bale it. But hey ho, we can in Farm Sim 22, and it is just a game, as I somewhat remind myself from time to time, or have to remind myself from time to time. So these things are obviously possible, and we can certainly do that, and we will get started on. I think we will get started on doing the baling. We do have some rain coming at some point today, but hopefully we will get this hay baled and put up. And there's a reason for it, because obviously Mr. Thornton is going to purchase Court Farm. He's going to do that. I don't think that there is any. I don't think there's any amount of reasoning or anything that would basically change his mind from basically doing that. And what his vision is for Court Farm is to sort of, because obviously right now I'm here on Thornton Farm, and I have gone back and forth to Calmsden, but Calmsden is kind of at a point to where it's kind of doing its thing. It's able to operate the way that it operates, and it does fine where it is now. They kind of got a little bit behind with the harvest season, and also trying to get some of the winter crop in, but we caught them up, and everything is good now. So I think Clemson's going to kind of run without a whole lot of effort on my part, other than just occasionally checking to make sure that things are still going as we want them to. And obviously, I've told you that I will be managing Mr. Thornton's farming empires across all three of the operations. So that would be Collinsden, Thornton, and also Court Farm. But because Court Farm is obviously the new baby, Mr. Thornton wants me physically living at Court Farm. So there is a farmhouse that is part of the property, and I've seen it. I've seen the exterior only. I've not seen the inside, so I really don't know what to expect. It's according to Mr. Thornton, it's as at least as nice as the house that I'm living in here, which is obviously quite nice. And and there is a reason why he wants me full time at Court Farm, obviously because it's new, and he wants to make sure that it's basically getting put into shape the way that we want it to be. But also, he is going to give. I see that's as far as Smithy got. Wow. Okay, let's just. I tell you what. Let's get in here. Let's stop Smithy because he couldn't make that turn, and we will. Just close your eyes for a moment, folks, as I run through that hedge and park him over here. All right, we will get back over here. All right. There's a reason why Mr. Thornton wants me full time at Court Farm, is because he is going to allow Smithy and Mrs. Smithy to move into the house here at Thornton. Now, initially, Smithy and the soon-to-be Mrs. Smithy were looking at a condo downtown here, um, kind of next to the gas station down there. But Mr. Thornton wants somebody here, kind of on the property, because it just needs to be that way, because there's going to be opportunities where you're going to have to be up in the middle of the night doing something, and or he just would rather have eyes here that can keep an eye on the property. And Abner and his family live in a nice house already here nearby Thornton Farm. And so Abner wasn't really interested in kind of uprooting his family to move into a different, move into a different property. And so it just made sense because Mr. Thornton had already given me sort of my eviction papers, if you will, to say, I really want you living at Court Farm because there's just a lot of things that I need to be able to oversee there. Now, initially with Court Farm, I'm going to be doing a lot of the work myself, especially in sort of the opening, um, the opening days and weeks of the farm itself, because as you can see, it is, it is early fall. It's almost fall. It's not quite. It's the first part of September. Fall occurs in the latter half of September, but it might as well call it that. And and so we're probably going to be getting into Court Farm right in that edge where we're only going to have a little bit of time to get a winter crop in the ground. We haven't decided what we're going to do yet. But the other thing that Mr. Thornton wants to do is he wants to sort of downsize the herds here. So not sure about sheep yet, if we're going to do sheep on Court Farm, but definitely we're going to do a small dairy operation on Court Farm. And so Mr. Thornton wants to send um, 50, maybe 75 of the girls here over there. He's already talked to transport company because he'd rather just hire someone to do it versus having us try to do it on a smaller scale. He can have a transport company come in and basically be able to get it done and get it done rather quickly. And that's kind of what he wants to do. And so I'm all for that as well. And if he does decide to do sheep, then obviously that will also be a consideration as well, where more than likely we will send a portion of our herd here over there as sort of a uh, starter operation. And then also likewise, of course, we're going to need, I just whistled as I took a breath in, but we're going to need also um, food for the girls, for the dairy cows. And so we're going to be cutting a little bit of the straw and hay that we have here, as well as some from Calmsden as well, because they had a lot of extra, and so they're not carrying quite as many quite a large dairy operation over in Calmsden as they have here on Thornton. So it will help out. It'll help out Abner and Smithy certainly if we cut the herd size down here, because that will give them less to do. And we've also, Mr. Thornton has switched up the milk contract where the dairy is going to be coming here to the dairy to pick up and buy. We're not going to be transporting anymore. So our dairy truck that we own, that is going to be sold. The dairy is thinking about buying it, but they've not worked out a price yet. So hopefully that'll be something that Mr. Thornton will do, and that will bring in a little bit of extra money as well. We're not 100% sure what the condition of the equipment is. There is equipment over on Court Farm, but we're not sure what the condition is. And so what Mr. Thornton has kind of said to me is, Jerry, I'm leaving it all up to you. I will give you a budget that you can work towards, and make sure you'll have plenty of cash going in, but just basically let's, kind of take things a little bit one day at a time, if you will, and get what we need to get initially, and then, buy the rest as we need it. So I am hoping, I don't know if I'll be able to actually do this before he actually signs the deal on Court Farm, but I'm hoping to get over there again, and kind of take an inventory of what all is over there, equipment wise, as well as also stop by the dealership. The dealership is a John Deere dealership, and they are kind of a sister dealership to the operation that's here in Thornton. So we've obviously got a really good relationship with these guys here, and but just like to go over there and maybe have a cup of coffee with those guys, shake their hands, and introduce myself and kind of start building a relationship, because that is going to be so important as we continue to get get the new operation going. Now, Mr. Thornton has sort of given me the flexibility to choose when I feel that it is time to bring a hired person on. And so just I'm going to kind of just take things a little bit day by day as far as Court Farms goes. Once Mr. Thornton owns it and we can get over there and start working it, and just kind of go from there. Because the thing is, usually most of these dealerships will know of people that's looking for work, especially in the agriculture industry. And so it wouldn't be too, if I just need somebody for a few hours or whatever, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal to be able to go by and say, hey, who do you know that's available to do a little bit of work for a few days? Because again, like I said, there's we're going to have a few days where we're going to have access to Court Farm before we lose our winter planting window. And so it's going to be a lot of work really quick, and then not a whole lot of work to do until basically the spring, until we have to start mowing and getting other things going before the harvest, and getting other fields planted and such as that. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to punish you any longer by making you watch me bell this hay. We will get this done off camera, and we'll get this episode wrapped up, get it uploaded, get it over to YouTube. And as far as what to expect, as far as any sort of schedule, oh my gosh, that's just out the window right now. But just know that I'm still here, and I'm still interested in producing content. I'm still excited about producing content and everything for you all to enjoy, and excited about the possibility of being able to do that on the new Court Farm map as well. But just, as I kind of kicked off the show, I'm just busier now than I was before. We've just got a lot of things going on, and I've got some things going on with my dad as well. And so just a lot of, don't have as much time as you might think I would have. I don't just sit around in my lazy boy, and or sit around in my man cave playing video games. I've got a lot of stuff going on, but you'll get videos as I can get them, and that's the best I can do for now. And until next time, thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please take good care of yourselves and also those around you. And if you're looking for excellent farm sim content, if you're new to this channel, please go ahead and click the subscription button there. I appreciate that. The like button as well. And then look at those recommended channels that I have in the show notes, talking about Fury Machine Gaming, Duck Zorley Gaming, AKFS, and of course, our late dear friend Atomic 67 Gaming as well. Go check out their channels and their content, and tell them I sent you. And I will see you back here on Thornton Farm in a few days, a week, I don't know. But I'll see you next time. Bye for now.